guys? Ben Travovic here from the Manly Seagulls.
Here's come through Luai.
The SuperCoach Experience podcast is one of the best podcasts going around, boys.
They go to Scores
Keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, I just want to say, what a podcast. Go the Mighty Eagles.
Hey lads, Ewan Aiken here from the New Zealand Warriors. Hope you have a big year with the SuperCoach Experience podcast.
Got the ball to Sims. It's down to It's gone in again. What a pass.
Hello, and welcome to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brendan Savage, the coach of the Savage Turbos, coming off a hot week, and I'm feeling good. I'm here with a full panel here today. I've got the coach of great week, but nonetheless, Mikey Adard, how are you?
Good, mate. Bit of lag going on there, but yeah, you had a great week, man. Congrats on that. I wouldn't say I had a bad week. Any week where you get green arrows is good, but it just could have been a lot better. So coming off 1,082, Captain Paps really saved my week. I just had too many 20s in there. Basically, my whole back line, played 5 of them this week trying to go for the attacking upside, and it just didn't work out. So I didn't play the hat-trick hero from the Cowboys. I didn't play him, and I played Cobbo instead. And yeah, it could have been much bigger, but hey, I've gone up to 17 or 18,000 from 23. So I'm on the way up. I have used 5 trades. I used my first trade boost last week. Done a bit of a shake-up last minute. Wasn't great last week, but I think I'm better off overall. So ready to go this week, mate. Onwards and upwards.
I think the fact that you got green arrows is a positive, so only onwards and upwards. Personally, I got 12, 27, went up to 4,900, and I left out Nanai as well. I looped Hines and left him out. So, yeah, I was going to captain Pappenhausen, so I would have been I think 70 points better off. But yeah. I'm still happy with the result. We're also joined here by the 2021 champion, Tim Moody. He jumped on quite late on the stream, but he's here. Wow. How are you, Timmy?
That's the time.
Yeah, look, I was on time. Yeah, you guys are worried about that, but now I always rock up on time. I got 1,085. It's a couple of more points than Mikey, and I'm absolutely devastated. So it just shows how we sort of our mindsets. Yeah, he's a glass half full. I'm a glass half empty guy. I'm ranked 22,000th. I'm really disappointed with the makeup of my side. A lot of the decisions I made pre-season. Look, I've come to the realization that it's not going to be my year. I think it's too much work now, especially with the side I've got. And the changes I need to make, I just think I'm way too far behind. I'm just going to focus on trying to just pull it back and not make it a complete disaster.
I think that back to the Mikey comment where you're saying, oh, yeah, glass half empty, glass half full. I think the difference is Mikey could be ranked behind you, but you could still kind of get a feeling about your team, and you could still be happy with decisions you've made yourself. And yeah, I guess it doesn't matter if you're ranked in a bad position. If you look at your side and you're comfortable, whereas Tim, you're not at the moment, you can still definitely come back this year. You can still rank very well. There's not much difference in the ranks, so 100% you can still bounce back.
Look, it was a big breakout week last week, Sab, so I think that might get us down a bit. But before that, it's so tight where the ranks are. So if you can bounce back this week, you're well in it. But yeah, don't give up hope, Timmy. I'm crushing the inside, but the minute you let into that is the minute you'll go down in the ranks. So you just
my younger brother.
Motivate.
My younger brother and younger sister are both in the top 2,000. So
yeah, my girlfriend's coming 4,000th and something. My brother, everyone's beating me, but I'm not worried about that for now. I'm focusing on me.
Yeah, Sheridan's ranked 9,000th as well, so props to her. And we're also joined by Hads. He hasn't been on since the start of the season. So how are you, Hads? Sitting in the car there just waiting for training, are you?
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks for having me again, lads, the professional fill-in. I thought I'd jump in the car early, get down here early, and join you blokes while I can. So hopefully you can hear me all right. And yeah, I also had a pretty decent week actually. decent enough anyway, considering my first couple of weeks were a bit of a disaster. So, Timmy, I know you said you had some good vibes about my thoughts early, and I'll give you the hot tip: they weren't any good. So
they've sunk in my mind, some of those, yeah. So I wondered whether you played them out or not. Unlucky brother.
But I scored 11.48, I think, this week. So
11.48.
I had some green arrows, and I'm around you blokes. I'm around the 20,000 mark, I think. But onwards and upwards.
Hey,
pretty...
don't put me in the same category. 4,000th, mate.
Don't. We'll catch Shabs. Don't stress.
Yeah, I'll run out of trades, even though I've saved some. So I've been.
Yeah, you're doing good, Shabs. It's a new Shabs for now.
I don't have time to think about it too much these days. So, okay, so I think one I want to quickly touch on, Hads, one that resonates with me, a person you brought up in the preseason was Jack DeBellin, and I just thought about him so much, and he's doing okay, but he's not quite doing what he tuned out last year with them run of games with the 70s. So I'm glad I didn't get sucked into that one, but I think it was definitely a good shout in the preseason. Nonetheless, let's move on. We're going to answer all your questions later in the podcast. If anything relevant comes up, I'll put it up. So ask all your questions when you're ready, and we'll answer it in the end of the podcast. We're going to do the hot topics, and we're also going to go through the hot takes of the team list. We're not going to go through team list by team list because we don't always do that. We've done that for the first few weeks, but they're quite standard to what they have been most weeks now. There's just a few changes that vary SuperCoach wise. But Mikey, what trades are you looking at this week?
So yeah, coming off 3 last week, I think there's a lot of trade options this week. Like I see last week, I had like a massive brain fit over what I was doing. I went with it, and although it wasn't good for the total points last round, I think my side is starting to look better. So this week I've got 2 locked in. I want to do 3, but to anyone out there that's already used a trade boost, I'm one of them. The fact I used one last week, I think I'm stupid if I use another one. You want 3 trade boosts. We're working out trade boosts for the first time together, but the way I think will work is you should use 3 around your buy time. And I want to save 1 in the pocket for after buy time for the run home. Whether or not I'm around there for the rankings, I want to be around there with my head-to-heads at least. So I think if I use that now, I'm really going to shoot myself in the foot. So to this week, I'm just going to have to cop a loss of money with 1 trade. So I'm going to go. We saw the Storms team list. I'm still confident in Josh King. I'm selling AFB to King. Might not be a major priority, but the thing is right now is Nathan Cleary's been named and he's on my horizon. I will own him in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So I've got to start making the bank to try and get him without using another trade boost. If he plays this week, I've got 2 weeks to make that happen. So I need to start having some salary. So King's just the best option I get in front row. It's horrible. Even if King's minutes go down, I'm happy to bring in King at 326k. I know I should have got him last week, but I'll grab him. That frees up 170k in the kitty, which is great. And the thing is, AFB is not setting the world on fire. He's scoring 40 to 50 for 500k, and I can get that for King for 170k cheaper. That trade's done. The second trade is going to fix up my scoring issue in my hookers. They're going horrible. I know a lot of us are in the same boat with Reed Marnie. I'm sick of him. I don't want a bar of him. I was going Marnie to Grant last week, so I had 100k left over from my trades last week. So we'll do Marnie to Grant. The third trade I would have done would have been I'm going to end the Sloan. Sloan, he didn't work out for me. That base is not good for that price range. So I'm not going to trade him this week. I hope that he can get close to his BE against the Eels. They love upsetting the Eels, the Dragons. So, and then next week I could go Sloan down to May. I think May's a great buy early this week, but I'm going to play it safe with him just in case he gets injured because I don't want to use the trade boost. I've got 200k left over now. Sorry, 187. And next week I'll look to build into the 300,000. So I'm getting really close to that Cleary trade. So that's where my head's at. I've just got to try to resist not to use that trade boost. I don't think it's worth it for me. Over to you,
trade very dangerous this year because it's just lingering. It's just that little button. I'm sure it'll Tim a bit worried. It's just dangling there at the top. Timmy, what are you looking at this week? And I see Mikey's got a bit of cash banked away. Have you got some cash banked away for number 7 that was named this week?
I feel like you're underwater or something at the moment, Sav. You're coming through quite strange to me. Look, I think you're asking me if I've got any money in the bank and what are my trades. So I'm just going to answer those questions. Yeah, I've got 324,000 in the bank. I don't know what I'm going to do with my trades. I've got a lot of problems. I've got a lot of fish to fry here at the moment. I've got Kiri's a massive issue, but then again, doing my head in because like he's got a pretty good draw coming up, and I did buy him for a good draw, but I don't really like his lack of base compared to some of his competition like Dylan Brown and Munster. The Brisbane boys, Stags and Cobbo, are doing my head in. Other than that, I want to get Cleary, but now I've realised that Brad Snyder, I can't really sell him in any rush. He's going to make some good money, so I'm going to have to sort of be patient with that and maybe not get Cleary as fast as what I wanted to originally. So I don't really know. I think maybe one trade I'll definitely make for sure is Reid Marnie to Harry Grant. And I'm considering maybe Kiri to Munster, but I don't like how much that's going to take of my budget I've been saving for Nathan Cleary. So I'll have to go back to the drawing board. I've only just had a look at team lists and stuff like that. I haven't really had a good look at BEs and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's heaps of players I would kind of like to bring in, but wish I'd brought in last week. I think like Nanai and Fermor and stuff, but I don't know if I want to jump on them. I know they're still making money, but I feel like they're going up a bit, and I don't know whether it's worth that or not. So a lot of assessment to do.
I'll go to you, Hads, before I ask about your trades. He's looking at Kiri Munster, but he's scared to use that bank because he thinks Cleary's a must-have. I think the way Munster's going, Munster is more of a must, knowing that he's kind of proven it already, whereas Cleary, under how the game is going at the moment, don't you want to wait and see? What are your thoughts on the Cleary versus Munster week and in the long run?
I've got the exact same options this week as what Timmy was saying with the whole Schneider being patient and waiting for it. I'm going Munster this week. It works really well. It's probably the easiest week for me trades wise. I pretty much knew straight away what I was going to do. I think Cleary's always going to be the gun that he is. Whether he lives up to what he did last year, I'm not 100% convinced, and I think it might take him a couple of games maybe to warm into it. But it's pretty easy for me. I'm going Angus Crichton out, Amone out, and through some dual position players, I can get Munster and Taylor May. So I held on to Angus for that extra week. I was in Adelaide for a Sheffield Shield game with SuperCoach guru Trent Copeland, and he was telling me that there was a chance that Angus could end up starting, even though he was named on the bench last week. And then obviously that didn't work out. He ended up getting 30 in however many minutes he played, and that was the end of me listening to Copes. But I held him for that week, and before the team list even came out, I had him out of my side, and then him being named on the bench only confirmed that. But I did just see actually Munster just got a new haircut. He's got a disgusting mullet now on Instagram. No. If you've seen that, so now I'm considering trading him back out just for the poor haircut. But no, he's good.
I don't think it's going to stay. I think he'll get rid of it.
You reckon?
I don't think it suits his new year, new me. Like,
yeah, great.
You know what I mean? It goes again. It's too with the larrikin side. I know he's still. You want to have that. I'd be off him having that haircut. It's not a good look. I don't think for Munster.
Do you want to say?
I think he should shave it. Pappy's look sexy. That's.
That's
wow, disgusting.
He can't keep that. There's no way he keeps that.
I think for the people who are listening in, it's more like, remember the mullet Jai Arrow had? It's just really dirty looking.
His head's shaved. It's just shaved, and then the drapes at the back, and the drapes are just messy.
So now I'm not convinced whether he's right. I don't know. That could.
Yeah, don't
Timmy
buy
is-
him, boys. Keep his ownership low.
Timmy is very haircut biased as well. I guess we'll go to my trades. I'm using my trade boost this week. I've been quite reserved with my trades this year. I saved one week 1, and I only used 2 last week. But this week, I am looking at Omone out, Joe Tapine out, and also Reed Marnie out. Harry Grant is coming in. Bo Firma is coming in, and Taylor May is coming in. That's exactly what I'm doing. Good trades, lads.
What does that leave you in your bank?
It doesn't leave much. Initially, my trades were Katoni Staggs instead of Omone out, but I'm keeping Katoni Staggs this week, and I'll tell you why when we do the hot topics. But
Yeah, I like him.
Not
I think
sure
it
how
would be
feel
better
about
overall.
Firma. I'm a little bit awkward about the Firma one. I think it's a
you don't
Yeah,
like
I don't know if you get him at that price. I can see why Tim's nervous because, look, 439, I'm not going to talk you out of him. I own him. I think, if you can plug him in your centre wing, I think his floor looks to be about 30 to 40. But if they keep going left side, bro, he could be anything. He could go to 550, 600K, and then you could quickly offload him when you think his try run will be over. He does play the buy round too, which is another big thing to note if you're going to hold him for that point.
And
I
He only
like
scored
it.
30 odd. He played a bit of centre though that game, didn't he? In round 1.
Yeah, you're right. Where it looks like his floor looks to be about the 40 mark, which isn't bad. Is it worth 439K? Look, Jewel, if you've got 8 and 2 saves, it could be good for you.
He's got a negative break even of -23, and he's got the Tigers this week. So I think
point.
the fact that they've got kind of a friendly draw over the next few weeks, I think it does get harder eventually. But I've heard he's the fittest at the club, and he's proving that he's earned that spot. And
Yeah,
I think you can't be reserved on these guys because of past performances. You've got to just see what they've put out this year. And
he's looked a good Savs. He's looked a good even in those past years. You've owned him in SuperCoach before. The fact is, you're right. If he comes out and scores a try and goes 60 plus, that's another 60K price rise. So, even if he just bums out a 40 with no try, and you're right, they're versing the Tigers. If they're on, they're going to be on. They're at home too. So, yeah, I'd definitely buy him at the 438K mark if you missed the boat. But you'd have to jump now.
And have a look at Fafita last year when he was scoring all those tries. He was playing on the left side.
Coming. Yeah,
and
it's the preferred side.
Firma is on the left side. They obviously don't like the right side, and it's frustrating for the Fafita owners. But have we talked you into Firma, Timmy?
Oh, I'm sitting on the fence on him. I don't know. I hate sort of not going the right time on someone and going a bit late unless they're like a must-have. Someone like Nico Hines or someone like that. You know what I mean? If you jump on late on that, then I don't mind that. But a player like Bo Firma, I think you're just locking in that tribe from last week. I think maybe there could be better options at a similar price. I like that he's making money. I don't mind him. I don't know. I don't love it. But if it suits your agenda, then go for it. You seem pretty locked in.
Yeah, I am locked in. I'm 100% locked in.
Their draw does get tougher, Sabs, while we're on the Titans. As soon as this game clears, they got Para, Manly, Cowboys, Penrith, Roosters. So their draw does get tougher.
I don't think the teams they're coming up against are defensive teams. They're more attackive teams. So
Penrith is.
Yeah, Penrith is a very tough one. All right, let's move on.
Are you suffering from frequent bouts of bet limititis?
Try TopSport, the bookmaker that isn't scared to take a bet. Other providers may significantly limit your bets, causing frustration and angst. TopSport clears that blockage by welcoming big and winning punters, giving you fast, effective relief on those bigger bets. Overcome bet limititis by downloading the TopSport app today. Brought to you by TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Very good there from TopSport. Use code SCExperience when signing up. TopSport have actually brought out a player performance market. Hads, you actually pointed that out to me a few weeks ago. And what it is, it's pretty much SuperCoach scoring, but it's kind of their own scoring system because obviously they couldn't get the rights to getting the SuperCoach scores and basing it off that. So they've done their own scoring system. And we posted one last week. It was Tyrell Sloan under 40 or something, and we nailed that. And there's this limited amount of players, and there's like 4 options, and you can choose whether they go over or under. It's always at $2 or something. So I think their markets are quite fun. And I guess we'll post one later this week, and whatever we like. What players are you liking this week, Mikey?
Oh, it's tough. I guess we'll get to that in the bold predictions. But yeah, no, it's a good little market, especially for super coaches, man. It's our thing. So I think it's good.
There was one the other week that sorry, Sabs. There was one the other week that was Harry Grant over or under 55.5 points, and that was easy money for the taking, I reckon. So I'll be going back to the well if they're offering something like that again.
I guess with players like that, it's so hard for them to base their points off if they haven't played this year as well. So Harry Grant, I'm sure the line will be much higher. Yeah. Good market. All right, so the hot topics of team lists. TLT Tuolangi is back for the Tigers, lads. Are we playing him this week, Tuolangi? I'll go to you, Hads.
I'm not playing him this week. I think my bench consists of guys like Bo Firma and Isaac Tago. So against the Titans, I'm just not convinced on the Tigers at the moment. And until I start seeing play some consistent good footy, I don't know if I can. I'm not sure I can squeeze it in. But watch him, like you probably would have thought the same thing about Nanai when he scored a hat trick and didn't do anything. So it'll probably bite me in the bum, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, Timmy Thompson is back on the wing. Sammy is out with COVID, so the people who were considering Sammy as a good option because he's been killing it this year might have to wait a week. And Will Smith, a slap in the face. He's been named at 14.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. But I guess, but you're a bit silly to pick up Will Smith, I think. People knew what they were going to get themselves into. They knew that Brimson was going to be coming back. I do like Tuolangi, though, from my side. I think I'll probably have to play him just out of lack of better options. But yeah, let's see how the Tigers go in their round 4 matchup. Huh?
I don't think he's a bad play with Tuolangi. No. Like, if you had to play it, you could. It just, the thing you'd be worried about is whether or not he plays 80 minutes, because the second game we were robbed of seeing that because of the head injury. So you've got Luke Garner on the bench. They are missing a Toi Kamanu. They get replaced by Musgrove. Offa Halgawi's at lock. 12's on the bench. So, like, it's really hard to see what their forward makeup's going to be, because Seyfarth has been playing a lot of minutes at the second row too. So I think if he's going to play 80 minutes, one thing we've learnt that the Titans haven't changed is letting in lots of tries. So I know Tigers have struggled to score the points, but if the Tigers are on in this game, there could be a few points. And Tuolangi's look likely to score a try a lot of the times when he touches the ball. So I think it's a risky play this week, but it's a risk that could pay off. I think if you're willing to risk if he plays 80.
The 24 in round 2 has really scared people off him, but people have forgotten already how good he looked in round 1. So I think
he looked good in round 2 too. He looked very effective when he got the ball. He looked likely, and
obviously he got a head knock in that game, which ruled him out early. So he's actually a decent play this week. Next game, Brodie Jones has got the second row spot instead of Momasia. It's kicking the guts for Momasia owners. Ponga named a fullback, and Talakai has retained his spot, but it's centre. So possible option there. Hads, what are you looking at in this game? Any interest there?
Not a whole lot in the Sharks game. I brought Nico Hines in last week, much to my enjoyment after seeing him go big. But apart from that, I was a bit like Timmy. I hate missing the boat on people at the time, but I could have waited out for Cleary or got Hines in, and I was tossing and turning, and eventually went Hines. But Talakai, who's Talakai in for? Tracy?
He is, yes.
He is.
Oh, Ramian.
No, Ramian's there. He's in for Connor Tracy. I don't know what happened to Connor Tracy. I might have missed that one.
Talakai actually looked okay last week in the second row, I thought. But if his spot, I don't know how he's going to go at centre and how much ball he's going to get and how many opportunities he's going to get. I don't think he's a play, but feel free to disagree. But I don't know. Connor Tracy. Have we found out what's wrong with Tracy or not?
I'm just trying to remember. I do feel like he did get bashed around or something from memory. I think I just remember seeing him stay down or taking a hit up from like deep in their own territory and being hurt, but I could be wrong.
Either way, Talakai, his job security wouldn't be amazing. Yeah.
Groin injury for Connor Tracy. Yeah. So one thing to note there, if you do jump on Talakai, the fact that his name's at centre, he may pick up that dual status come round 6. I don't know what the criteria is, but
Got to play 2 games minimum, I think. And it's got to be 2 full. Yeah, you can't come in off the bench. Like you can't say you went and you filled in 30 minutes at centre because of an injury. It doesn't count. So if he got named for 2 games at centre and he plays it, he probably could be eligible. I
thought the way they're doing it was kind of they're just doing it based off feel, not.
They are. They are. I actually heard.
I read something where it was 2, unless if you've heard something to me, I thought you had to play a couple.
Straight from Stanks' mouth. Yeah, the way they're actually doing it is, I think they're just sort of going off like watch what happens. So if someone starts on the bench, obviously, and then they come on and start playing in the second row position for that rest of that game, then they consider that to be a second row. You know what I mean? So
there you go. Yep. That's good.
So,
very good. Next game, Cleary back, Linu starting. Big news is Cleary. Mikey, are you eyeing him off? I guess as a non-Hines owner, you're probably not the best person to ask. But if you are a Hines owner, are you looking at Cleary?
Look, if there's a way where you can get both of them, I think that is, with the way it looks right now, you want to have both of them in your final team. As not a Hines owner, it makes it easy. I think it's going to be harder for Hines owners to have both of them. And if it does, where is that going to cost you? So, I'm just hoping Cleary comes and outclasses Hines. But at the same time, I know a few people might be looking at jumping now. I think it's silly after his shoulder injury. Wait and see. None of these high-priced players at that bracket have been able to maintain their cash, except maybe Nico Hines. So let's see how he goes. I think he might drop 50 to 100K, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt getting money ready to pull that trigger. Because let's say for some reason, look, I'm going to own Cleary. As long as he doesn't get re-injured, I'm owning him. You're going to need him. And I guess the jump is you want to get him before everyone else does, but at the same time, you don't want to screw your cap over, because if you spend $950K on him and he doesn't go too well, I think it's really going to hurt you. But we get to look this week. It's just going to be tough because they play the Bulldogs and the Broncos in the next 2 weeks. So if Storm can put points on the Bulldogs, I think if he scores 90 to 100, I'm going to want to try and bring him in next week. But we just got to wait and see how he goes in this game, which I think will be close.
Very good. Hads, Cleary, you've obviously pulled the trigger on Hines.
Yeah, I pulled the trigger last week, thinking back to your thoughts early doors with Hines, having the potential to then get rid of one of my fullbacks to get the cash for Cleary. So I'm liking that. I'm going to give him a couple of weeks. I think he'll drop some cash as well. But we know how classy he is, so we're going to need him at some point. So I ended up running with Gutho and Teddy in my fullback position. And they're both, and Gutho's actually started pretty well, so that's good. But I'm happy to get rid of one of them for Cleary when the time's right, and once I know he's got the class that he did last year.
I think Gutho is a nice one to sell, kind of, especially if you're kind of doing a rotation in the fullbacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Timmy, where was I? Tedesco. Obviously, we're not at that with the team list, but what do you think of him as a Supercoach option this year? He's not, I mean, the Roosters kind of look like there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen. He's the captain now, so he's got a lot more responsibility. What do you think of Tedesco as an option? Is he done as a premium fullback?
No, he's not done as a premium option. That's why I've got massive headaches, because, look, as much as it'd be nice and easy just to sell either Pappenhausen or Tedesco, move Hines down just so I can have Hines and Cleary, because that's what I want. I want Hines and Cleary, but that doesn't feel right. I think Teddy's going to come good, man. I think he'll be popping out hundreds just as easy as Cleary. So I think selling like him I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I see like their run's getting so much better, the Roosters, and I think that'd be painful.
As Addo says, their draw opens up big time. So 100%. He's definitely got this run of few weeks to prove himself again. But, you know, if he comes out the other side of this and doesn't post many big scores, then I think the questions will be asked very seriously. Next game for the Broncos, Capel is out and Johnson is named on extended bench. So I'm not sure if many people would have held Johnson, but that's quite nice for the Warriors, just in general. Manly game.
Can I say something on that game?
Yep.
The Broncos game, is it? Yeah. So, look, I just read that Piakura, who hasn't even got a start yet, is injured for like 6 weeks.
Correct.
Yeah. I've got him in my side, which is doing my head in as well because he's bottom dollar. So it's another stressful thing. So people be aware of that. He won't be. I talked him up and got a lot of people probably on him. Sorry. He's injured.
It's okay.
And Jordan Ricky as well is named when they said he shouldn't be named. or they said he was injured. So there could be a late change there. So there's potentially someone to keep an eye on there. It's interesting at the Broncos. What Kevy's doing keeps rotating the pair of them.
I think Piakura was he's a massive talent, a massive youngster coming through. And I guess if people expected him to be playing in the next 6 weeks, then, I mean, you couldn't have guaranteed it anyway. So it's probably something that you've probably planned for, most people anyway. Next game, what have we got? So we've got Davey is named on the second row, 266,000, got 55 minutes last week. Obviously with Schuster looming, he's probably not an option, but that means Bullimore's on the bench. Any of us still have Bullimore?
Flipped him last week to Hiku. Good that he left, but Hiku didn't do too good. So, he's turning out to be a trap. I guess if you owned him, hopefully you played him for the round one to at least jag 60 points in round one. Other than that, it's been horrible. So I think it's time to part ways. The fact of Schuster returning, it just doesn't look friendly to him. So I think he's going to start shedding some cash if he's only going to play those minutes. So I think if you can, he'd be a priority trade. If I could do it for a Jules, I'd be selling him for Taylor May potentially.
We've got a question here. Hamoli's minutes. Didn't get 80 minutes on the weekend, but I think there was a bit of an injury concern there. But the fact that he's named again, expect 80 minutes from him. Mikey, you got him in on the weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I got him in, and I think 36 for how bad. Like, it was a really rainy game. I think it was a bit affected. Like, with how much that he did, like 36, better than nothing. Obviously, I wasn't very happy with the trade in with what he scored, but as I said to you before the podcast, I think there's big scores to come. If he can stay fit and healthy, I think the Manly spine, they're going to start to click together, and Owakalachi's going to score some tries off the back of that. So I'm not worried. I'm excited to own him. He didn't really shed too much. This game to me screams points. I think it could be like or close like that Titans-Raiders game. I think it'll be back and forth, like a 24-20 kind of game. I think there are points to be scored on either edges. So this looms to be another good game for Super Saturday. What a cracking Super Saturday it was last week. Super entertaining. So
good. I didn't tip a game on the whole Saturday, but lads, Tom Trbojevic has lost 200K. He has a really good record against the Raiders, and I'm pretty sure most games in the past, I'll have a look, but he's pretty much been on track to turn up every time. He got injured one game, but in the past few years against the Raiders, he's got a really good record. Would you consider getting in Turbo? Because, I was looking at it, and I feel like jumping on him the week he goes massive will be a massive pod play, because people are kind of waiting for his price to go down, but there's going to be a point where it gets to the lowest point it's going to go, and then he's just going to blow up after that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the football Manly's playing at the moment is just so far below what they did last year that his impact on games is just almost irrelevant. Like, I watched the round one really closely. He almost looked a little bit disinterested just because how much Penrith were dominating, to be honest. But I don't think I didn't have him at the start. I'm not going to have him now. I'll probably have him at some stage if he manages to play some good footy again. But no, until I said it was the same with Olakuatu. I was considering getting him in last week. But until I see Manly play some good footy, I can't see it happening. I get what you're saying, but I just don't want to take that risk.
Timmy, obviously Tommy was a massive reason why you won last year, but what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I like your little idea of jumping on him sort of early or when you think he might go big, because I think most people will just sit there and wait for him to drop in price or wait for him to have that 150 game and then they'll want to get him, because everyone's sort of so many people are guilty of chasing last week's points in Supercoach. So I think people need to see something before they like to see a bit of form before they like to jump on someone. But I think if you could do it the week early before everyone else, whether that's this week, the week after that, I don't know which week you'll be the big one, but yeah, I kind of like that idea. Doesn't feel like it's for me though.
I think the problem is, who do you sell? Because both fullbacks, Pappenhausen and Tedesco, I mean, they've got good runs and they're both really good scorers. So, like, who do you sell? Because if it doesn't work, you're going to get burnt.
Well, you're just giving me more headaches now, man, because to be honest, I'm stressing enough about how I'm meant to be able to fit Teddy, Pappy, Hines and Cleary in my side, and I've got a spot for them all. And I can't really do it at the moment because Schneider's got to bloody do his thing. And I can't sell a guy that's killing it, that's making money, that's that cheap. And now I've got to try to fit Tommy Turbo into my side at some point as well. So it's really frustrating.
I would propose this to people. Instead of getting in Cleary, get in Turbo and captain him this week.
I hate that. I hate that.
Yes, we're doing that, Addo. So, yeah, that's locked in.
Yeah, just quickly on what you said, Savs. Yeah, I hate that. That was the thing I was going to point out. If you get Tom, you're going to sacrifice yourself for getting Cleary. Might not be the right option, but the thing is, if you've got two fullbacks, example, if you don't have Tom, I'm going to assume you have Pappenhausen and Tedesco. I know the majority do. If you have that, you're wasting a trade getting in Tom when those two are doing their thing. Tedesco hasn't primed into it, nor has Tom, but Tedesco costs so much more less than him. Tedesco comes into now a dream run, and if you go up to Tom and he's only getting maybe 10 or 15 points more than Tedesco, it's not worth it if he starts to ton up with him, because to do that you're going to decrease and set your team back in another spot where I think it'd be better to grab Cleary, who's a gun at that position, especially for people that aren't on the Hines train. And yeah, but I get what you're saying. It could work out in the short term and in the long term, but look at what you have to sacrifice one of Pappenhausen and Tedesco. I don't think it's worth.
Such a Savs thing to say.
It's against what I would do, but I agree that you might need him at some point, but right now Tom's not putting his hand up to get picked, and I know you need to make the jump on other people, but if it means to dangle Tedesco or Pappenhausen off a cliff, I'm not doing it. They're staying on my cliff.
I know, but Tommy has a really good draw over the next few weeks as well.
And we thought that with the Bulldogs and his stats with the other teams.
Are people going to wait till his price drops, and then he's going to have a tougher draw, and one of these other fullbacks are going to have a better draw? If you jump on him now and one of these fullbacks don't kick on, like a Tedesco just does, like Tedesco hasn't shown much. What Tim said before is people like to see form before they jump on someone.
He costs $600K. Tom costs $1 million, still with a high as break even.
But if you did not start with Tedesco, would you be rushing to get him in right now? From what you've seen in the first few rounds, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would, because I think the reason is, I'll tell you why.
Same reason as what you're saying about Tom.
The reason you get someone who's like, you can jump on the guy who's killing it, right? Who's scored massive points for the last 3 weeks. And for example, Nico Hines, you can jump on him, right? And he's probably going to keep doing well because he's shown good form. But someone like Teddy, who's got that pedigree and he's in such a good side, who aren't performing that well at the moment, they're going to find form. They're the Roosters, which means Teddy then starts scoring well.
Are they?
So I think you need to jump on people that are more not so doing well, that will do well. That's how you get ahead. You don't
And aren't
just
going to
jump on
cost
the
you an
guy
arm and a leg.
Yeah, you don't just jump on whoever's got the one up on you last week, and you're always one step behind.
Look, that move could work.
At some point, you've got to peel off.
I'll go to you. So many people are high on the Roosters, but they've lost Corner, they've lost Friend. I mean, last year you give them a pass because they had so many injuries, but they lost Corner, Friend, the Morris brothers. Like, that's a lot. Their outside backs aren't the outside backs they used to have. Their middles are not what they used to have. Their hooker situation, they've got Connor Watson, but they're fucked there. Is it 100% guaranteed that the Roosters are going to absolutely kill it? Like, they're playing the Cowboys this weekend.
Cowboys are in form, right? And here's my call. Roosters will put on 30-point margin to make up those points that I was expecting them to be pumping other teams in the weeks before. This is the week they turn it around.
And how many points is Teddy getting in that? I think Teddy. I think it's a bit of a targeted question, Saz, because I reckon you know what I'm going to say. I think Teddy tries.
Teddy 130.
I think Teddy tries to do it all himself at times, and he's got to understand that. Yeah, he's got Kiri back. He's got Walker there. I think the Teddy we see in Origin, where he's got all these great controls of the game around him, is a different Teddy that we've been seeing recently in his club footy. But obviously, as you said, he's got the pedigree. But I wouldn't be opposed to selling Teddy eventually for Turbo. But I just don't think it's definitely not now.
On my side, but
I'm not on your side. No. I'm not advocating.
You're in the minority, mate.
For $1 million.
This is the clincher, guys. I've seen him do a lot of them sweep plays, right? And a lot of the time he gets caught and he gets jammed by the defense, when most other fullbacks would do the sweeping play and pass it straight away and get that try assist. But what he's doing, he's getting the ball, he's getting jammed and crabbing back in. And I just don't like.
But he gets points for that a lot of the time too.
Wait a minute. Your whole thing, Sabs, is that Tom hasn't hit his feet yet, and he's going to, and that has to be said for the Roosters as well. Even though I get what you're saying, that they might not be the side that they once were, but they are still going to be a threat. They're going to be a threat to and they will find their wheels. They will. They're that kind of team. They're that kind of club. He's going to come back, and he'll make you eat your words. 100%. It's Tedesco. He will come good. And the Roosters will come good
for sure by the end of the year.
Definitely. I wouldn't say for sure, but 100%. I definitely think they're on their way. I would not put 100% in that. I'd put 80% in that.
100%.
Yeah.
Do we
guys,
need a top four for the
they
top
finished
four
fifth last year, didn't they? And they had bugger all players. If they can just retain a couple more players, they'll be in the top four.
It's only round 4. They've got time. I agree with Timmy in that sense.
I know. I love how there's debates on this. Like we don't have heated debates like that. We got to do that more. Really.
We will if you keep your opinions like that.
All right. Next game is the Roosters versus the Cowboys. Crichton is still benched. If you haven't sold him, which you didn't, Hads, you're going to sell him this week.
Sold out. He's out now. So as I said,
it's awesome. Personally, I'm happy about it because we might be able to get a 400k Crichton if an injury happens and he's back playing 80. It's awesome.
Nat Butcher is actually killing it. Maybe not a super coach option because you've got Crichton looming on the bench, but he's got that 114 and he scored 60 on the weekend, which is quite nice. Cowboys looking good as well, as we said before. Tom Dearden is strangely in the top 10 most traded in. What do we think of that, lads?
He's playing good football, but I don't love it because I'm real off the Cowboys. They're playing well at the moment, but that's just a little bit of excitement, enthusiasm for a rough team that can't play that good of footy, sort of having full enthusiasm and everyone playing for each other. That won't last that long. And this is the week that they get crushed.
Yep. Okay. I see it happening. And last game, Harry Grant named at 9. Cheese is on the bench. Josh King is named at 13. If you didn't have Josh King, would you get him in, Hads?
I think so. Mikey said he was getting him in, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's still a player. I think Cheese on the bench, I don't know what the minute's going to be look like. Cheese will probably still play 60. I'm hoping King plays similar to what he's been playing. I think he's still a buy. If you're looking for someone at that price in the front row, he's probably your only option, I suppose. So, yeah.
Mikey, we're just talking about Josh King, named at 13 with Harry Grant at 9, Cheese on the bench. Josh King, obviously you didn't get him in. You think he's a really good buy this week?
I wouldn't say a really good buy. This thinks of, what Hadley and Tim was speaking out before about jumping on a week late or missing the boat. I don't think I missed the boat here because he's got such a low, or have in a sense, but it's a really low break even. Am I worried about his minutes? Yeah, I am a touch, but as I said before, I think he can still match AFB's 40 points. And I could play either of the Kings, especially the fact that they're facing each other. If he does get scratched to the bench or whatnot, I don't think he will. I think if anything, King will move into prop. They could put Brandon Smith at lock, and Nelson will go back to the bench. I still think we can expect 55 to 60 minutes because Bellamy rewards players with how they play. And I think he's earned those minutes. He's looked great. He's come from the nights where he barely played nothing. He's upped all this workload, and it's sustained for now. Like, I think we could sell him for about 450 to 500K. And the main reason I think it's worth it in my case is that I get rid of, I get money in the bank, and I said that was important to my plan. So, I wouldn't go anyone away from getting him as well. But I think if you want him, this is the week to get him. I wouldn't pull apart your side. I even think if Momasia, you could even upgrade him. That costs 130K. But yeah, look, Josh King, if we think Melbourne are going to score points, we could see some more attacking stats like on the weekend, especially playing in the middle.
And is he a play?
Yeah, well, if I'm buying him for AFB, I think if you've got Max King, Momasia and all that, I think he's a play out of all of them. You want 40, you're happy from 40 with how bad the front rows are being. It's a wasteland.
I think he's more of a play than a Tuolangi, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah, agree. If he's getting 60 minutes, and for sure, his work rate's starting to slowly increase to which people thought would happen after his poor PPM at the start. But yeah, he's looking good. He's a player that I never really took much notice of until now. I guess that's what Melbourne Storm, they do all the time. It's the kind of club they are.
100%. We'll answer your questions quite shortly, but we've got a few hot topics to go over. Tony Staggs, is he a sell? I'll go to you, Hads.
I don't think so. I think the Broncos have looked pretty likely down that edge a couple of times, and I'm in that sort of boat with Cobbo, whether I get rid of him or not. I mean, it's probably a different story because I'm not going to use much cash from Cobbo. But I think they look likely, and I think you've got. I'll throw it back to you, Saz, because I think you've got something for me there. Do you not?
I do. So who they're playing this week? They're playing the Warriors. The Warriors conceded 3 tries to the opposition right wing in the first week. The Warriors conceded 2 tries to the opposition right wing in the second week. They didn't concede any points on that side last week, but they're playing the Tigers. So I think I'll kind of scratch that one. But if the Broncos are any smart, if they're smart at all, they'll attack that edge because there's been so many points go down that edge. So I think I'm holding on to Staggs this week to just see if there's going to be a week where Staggs and Cobbo are going to come good, especially Cobbo, considering how many wingers have scored against them. This will be the week. So, I mean, I've sold Talatay and Monet instead of Staggs this week. If he doesn't show anything this week, then I think as a super coach option, I'm happy to punt him.
I think if you want to punt him, Sabs, this is the week to do it because I'm assuming his break even's still pretty high, so he's going to start shredding cash.
It's 60, so
it's not horrible. Yeah,
if he scores a 30, 35, then he's a sell.
He only needs a try or
exactly.
That's what I mean. If you have him and you don't sell him now, he's going to bounce back in some sense. You'd imagine. It's just the Broncos are really struggling to get him early ball and that side early ball. And I'm a Cobbo owner, and I haven't been impressed with what I've seen since I've bought him. But I'm going to keep playing him because I'm with you guys. I do believe those nice scores for both of them are around the corner, and the Warriors didn't look too great in their win last week. So, look, I think I'm not keen on Staggs. I'd probably be punting, but I guess at the price, if you've held on now, maybe hold on. Unless you could go down to May and with that money you can bank for Cleary, I'm going to support that for sure.
Timmy, I'll go to you for the next one. It's kind of two questions in one. The first question is Fafita a sell? He's lost a bit of cash in the first week, but signs are promising considering he was quiet. In that same sentence, is Cameron Murray a buy? Is he? We've seen a lot of a shift in the premium scorers this year, and is Cameron Murray someone who is a beneficiary for how the scoring has gone, and is Fafita someone who doesn't benefit? What are your thoughts?
Well, if I could have just one in my side, even after what I've seen, I'd still pick Fafita over Cam Murray. He's scoring okay and he's not doing anything. So once the Titans start using him a bit more, we're going to expect some pretty big scores from him. I do like Cam Murray as well. It was a pretty big game last week, though, for him. I mean, he had those 2 try assists. There was a try for himself. Yeah, look, that try was really, really, really soft. He just pretty much walked through 2 cardboard barriers there. But thing with Cam Murray is he's got a low break even. I think it's about -6.
You're right.
Yeah,
That's
so
6.
I think if you wanted to pick him up, you'd kind of want to do it now.
This week,
yeah, I don't think you'd want to hold off too long because you might go to a bit of an awkward price where it's that 700s where you wouldn't want to pay it.
After this week, Timmy, his draw opens up to Dragons, Dogs, Tigers, Manly, Broncos. So
he certainly seems handy for someone like when you want base. I think I'd much rather have Cam Murray in my side than Isaiah Yeo, who I was kind of big on Isaiah Yeo last week. But yeah, I think I'd much rather Cam Murray.
I think back to Isaiah Yeo, Cleary back this week. I don't expect him to be playing the minutes. He has been playing. Panthers. Oh fuck! I'm on a panel full of Panthers fans.
No, I think he will. He will still play 80 at this stage. You've got Liam Martin as 18th man. You've got Fisher Harris at 24th. They've won 3 games. I think if Cleary's back, I don't think they're going to risk these guys, which probably means he does. Maybe Liam Martin comes in, but why rush him back? Just take the extra week. We're winning games. Cleary's a big inclusion. If he does play, I think they will rest the other 2 unless they're 100%. But by Fisher at 24, I don't think they are. You even see young Lindsay, Jake's mate, Lindsay Smith's on the bench too. So
actually, he came in.
They keep that
18th man last week too.
Yeah, if they keep him that bench the way it is right now, there's not much experience on that bench. He'll play 80 if it stays like that.
Hads, Taylor May is by far the most traded in this week. Is there a world where he is not a good trade in because people are going a week early on the price rise, obviously?
I seem to remember him having a much more dominant running game than what he had the other day. Obviously, he scored a hattie, whatever he did last week, but I kind of remember him being in the mold of a Brian Toto 2.0. In saying that, I've got him in and I'm buying him. And I think with Cleary back, I started with Brian Toto and I was copying a lot of flack from a few mates about no Cleary, no Toto tries, no Toto attacking stats. With Cleary back, I think he does get those attacking stats, and I think his base as a wing is probably still good enough. So I don't think there's a world where he's not a good buy. I think there might be some weeks where he might not be a good play. And if Cleary's out, I think that might be one of them. But with Cleary back, him on the wing for another 5 or 6 weeks, I think you've got to go this week. Definitely go next week, if not.
Timmy, you bought him in last week and played him. Is he a play this week? He obviously they're playing the Rabbitohs this week, which people might think is a harder matchup. But in round 1, the Broncos, Corey Oates scored on that left side. Round 2, Aaron Meyer played on the left side for Melbourne. They used the right side and attacked Jackson Paulo with Corey Oates. So I'll write that one off. Round 3, Daniel Tupou went down that left side and scored a try. So I'm seeing another attacking stat or a try for him this week because obviously Penrith are a good side.
Yeah, I think my team's not strong enough to not play him any week. I'd be playing him every week. He's probably my best centre wing at the moment by far. I've got Targo and Aiken still bloody up in second row. My team's that bad. So yeah, I really like him. That's why I rushed him in last week, and I'd encourage people to just get him. They don't have to do it this week. If they can wait next week, I wouldn't be doing a trade boost to bring him in this week because that's just crazy. You don't need to waste trade boost. Get him next week if you've got two other bigger fish to fry. It's not like I don't think he's going to score like 100 this week. I personally think this could be a tough game for the Panthers. It looks like we're quite short favourites, but I've got a weird feeling that the Bunnies might be up for redemption after the grand final, and
100%.
I think they look pretty good. And I've got a vibe that we might lose this game.
Look, they're another team at home, Sabs, just quickly. They haven't lost one in so many games. They're another side there, yeah. They literally power up, and I think it's going to be maybe a low-scoring, close, as Timmy said, I think it'll be a close game. I think Panthers can come away with it, but if they're not on the top of their game, the Bunnies will get them.
Very good. And also, hot topics. What else have we got? Nicho Hynes and Jeremiah Nanai as the last two. So Nicho Hynes, if you don't have him, he's second most traded in again this week. Mikey, as a non-owner?
No, I'm not going to jump on that boat. This could be I understand that this could be one of the determining factors of my season, not owning him, but I'm just going to have to go with the death ride. Like, I'm not going to fully pull apart my side just to get in one bloke when I I'm coming 18,000, but I do like my setup of my team. I see a way I can get clearing. So I was like, let's go with that. I think if I was to commit if I commit to Cleary, I can't get Hynes. I definitely see I'll have to pull too much apart. I got a lot of the mid-ranges and cheapies right, so I'm just lacking points on the board. So, no Hynes. I understand why everyone's going him. He's 38% owned, and this week I think it'll take him up to 45%. I think I ran the numbers. So, it's going to be rough not having him. He looks so good. Like Timmy said last week, he's just accumulating points like no tomorrow. So, it's hard to watch, but I can't do it for my side right now. I don't want to spend that money. I want to keep Sam Walker.
I found out that Timmy was getting in Hynes via the SuperCoach NRL live stream last week, and he was wearing quite a nice jacket.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I've got nice jackets.
And Jeremiah Nanai, Hads, is he a buy this week if you don't own him? As an owner, I don't think he's a must-have, but with the negative break-even and the 100 in his average, the cash is so tempting.
Yeah, I don't think, as a player, if you're looking for someone to play, I don't think he's necessarily a buy, but you saw his tries on the weekend. I got asked a question today by someone. They said, how did he only score 100 and he scored a hattie in all his tries?
No line break.
Yeah, we're landing on balls of a kick and whatnot. So, what did he go? He had a decent first week, didn't he? Quiet the second week, and then the hattie. And obviously, if you're looking for cash and looking to free up some cash for Cleary, I think if you want to downgrade someone and make some cash, maybe. But if you're just looking to play him, I don't think so.
I think the second week
on it. I don't have him.
The second week.
Sounds go.
Sorry, I'll quickly go. The second week, when he scored like 35 with a try, he had minus 19 in negative stats. So had he cleaned that up, that would have been a possible 35-point turnaround because he may have got that hit up instead of the drop ball. Instead of giving away the penalty, he would have got the tackle. So instead of being 35, he could have been 70 with a try. So I think and without a line break, 2 tries is as good as 1 try with the line break. So I think the fact that he was there and he passes the eye test, that's my thoughts on him.
And his job security is a lot better. Yeah.
Timmy?
I think he really burst onto the scene last week, and the fact that he had that, I think he's going to give him a lot of confidence going forward, and I think he's going to really inject himself. So I'm a bit nervous not owning him. I'm going to have to look at it and see if there's a way I can do it. I've just got so many other problems. I think I might just have to let it go, but I'm really jealous of people that do own him because I think he's a really talented young guy, and I think he's got a lot of potential for SuperCoach with just the way he plays his game of footy. So,
is anyone, Sabs, you own him? Are we playing him this week? I think I will play him personally. I think they can score some points against the Roosters.
I'm playing him. I think he'll be up for it. Without the negative stats in the second week, he's 100% a play. But I think the fact that he's got that in him just scares people. You two have to go. Yep.
Yeah, I'll go Jet.
I
Thanks for
got
having
10
me.
minutes.
All
Thanks,
right. We'll see. Hads, have you got a bold prediction for us?
David Fafita, I'm the vice captain this week against the Tigers. Titans going to put on 40 points and Fafita 110 plus 2 tries.
Very good.
Take care, lads. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Cheers for coming on.
See you, mate.
Next
Take
Sunday.
care.
Just back to Nanai versus Firma. What do we think?
Oh, 139k cheaper, and they both got really low break evens. I got them both minus 26 for Firma. I think that's a very hard one. It just sees where you put them. I think, do Cowboys play the buy round? Look, if Cowboys don't play the buy round, no, they do. They both potentially play the buy round. Nanai did commit himself to Queensland, so if they're low on some back rolls and he keeps playing, it's not a crazy world to think that he couldn't jag a bench spot. I know that's probably a little bit, but it's not impossible.
They're very light in that sort of area, so 100%.
But then again, 400k, it's tough. I think potentially Firma. I just see the Cowboys dropping off a little bit, and I think the Titans will still continually score points. So if you've got an extra 39k, I would go Firma. He's dual as well.
All right, let's answer some questions quickly. Paycheck on YouTube. Dylan Brown instead of Munster. Timmy, as someone who doesn't own both, who are you more scared of?
I like them both. Dylan Brown looks like he can do the job at a cheaper price. And I feel like he's good for 60 plus a week. And I think that Munster's not going to always score 100. So I think maybe Munster's about a 10-point, maybe 10-point better average player than Dylan Brown. And I'd probably prefer Munster if I had to get one or the other. But if you're trying to save money to do other things, I don't mind Dylan Brown. But I think Munster looks really exciting. I just think that the vibe of the whole, new year, new me, he's off the beers, he's a real sensible boy now. And now that he's shaved his head and he's not going to be having to play with his hair and get it out of his eyes every 2 seconds, I think he'll be more focused even still.
I think the good thing about them both is they both accumulate points just through a range of things. So like tackle bust, tackles, lots of runs. And you don't really have to worry about them getting bulk points with attacking stats, both of them.
I like Munster. In the last very play of the game, he sort of did bumped off about
He got like 15 points that play. There was a lot of
That was annoying, man. That was so annoying watching that.
You were like,
so good.
I can cop a 90, but then he went to 109 after that.
Yeah, so that's why you get Munster.
Josh Miller, Mikey, Starling a buy for Marnie. If you were, this is probably a world where you're probably not convinced that Harry Grant is going to get the 80 minutes, which it's very likely he might not. What do you think?
I don't think that matters. You get Grant. Look what he did last year when sometimes he didn't get the 80 minutes. He's the best hooker option by far, in my opinion. But if I wasn't to do this and I was on the stage, okay, let's start to build a kitty up. I think Starling's still a buy. If I wasn't going the keeper option in Harry Grant, I would definitely go the Starling option. Instead of holding money, I do like that buy. But just think to yourself, do you want to own Harry Grant? And if you do, I think you need to jump now while the gap's only your 90-ish K, I think it is. But Starling, I know we got Matt Frawley lingering on the bench and that, but I still think at the price point, he's not a bad buy. I guess I might prefer Randall to Starling. But hey, the Starling to money buy gives you some cash to play with. So, yeah, I don't mind that.
You can't prefer Randall to Starling, really?
If you think that Randall's a bit of a trap now, only get 29 to 30, I don't mind having two hookers. Like, say you already had Grant. I don't mind having Grant and Starling, or even.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you prefer Randall over Starling, like you prefer him. I'm thinking not Starling.
No. I meant I'd probably look at that option first.
Yeah.
Had the money, yeah.
Adriana Sora, sell Amon or Cobbo? I'll take this question. Obviously, I think Cobbo is a hold this week. I think he's in for a big week, and obviously I had that stat before, the Warriors conceding points on that edge. So I would hold him for this week and then recess next week. Amon, he's kind of looking like he's taking a back seat. So, he might get them few attacking stats that boosts his scores, but I I feel like he's going to get that once, and he's not going to go on a run of games. Could be just because of the way they play. Let's go, David I from YouTube, Teague Wilton. Timmy, I actually love Teague Wilton as a player, averaging 81, and he's back this week, starting in the second row.
He has a low break even from memory. I'm not too sure what his price is.
427.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I guess that's a nice, it's a pod option because a lot of them would be going sort of the Nanai Firma sort of option. Teague doesn't have the dual flexibility that Firmor and that has, but yeah, he looks like a good footy player. He's pretty secure now, isn't he? With Wade Graham being out for a while.
Yeah, so Wade Graham, I'm pretty sure it's like 6 to 8 weeks. So he's probably due back in the next few weeks. So, I mean, you're probably better off going a Firma.
Done.
Yeah, I would put him in the same category as Firma and Nano. If you got both of them and you still like him, then 100%. Teague Wilton's not a bad option. Michael Carver, just joined. Liam Martin is injured, Mikey.
Yeah, so that leg injury kept him out last week. I did sell. And he's 18th man this week, so I reckon he's close. But as I just said before, I think he might, if Cleary's back especially, we've got 3 wins on the board. I think they might give him an extra week to rest, personally.
Yep. Luke Wazowski using the first trade boost this week, going Marnie, Angus, and Sam Walker to Grant Hines and Brody Jones or Oliver Gildart, leaves me 112K. Gildart leaves me with 83K. What would you do, Mikey?
I don't mind the trades. I'm just question mark about the third one, the Brody Jones or Gildart. I don't like either of them. Look, Brody Jones I think could be a good option, but we haven't seen anything. He's coming back from COVID. He's starting for the first time. He's not anywhere near his 3 games for the price rise. I definitely think he could be a buy option in 3 weeks, but that's too much to risk on. If you've got around the 100K there, that probably means that you got 80K from 280. So he's probably got 360.
Go early on Taylor May.
If you didn't get Taylor May last week, I would do that option.
100%.
Yeah. Because he doesn't have the money to go Nano. Otherwise, I'd say do that if he doesn't have him. Yeah, I wouldn't. 100%. Don't use a boost if you don't have to.
I agree.
Walker's got a nice run. Hold.
I assume he needs to do it to generate some cash. So Taylor May, 100% a good one. Even Sawali is due back soon, and I think he's going to take Momirovski's spot. So
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Queenslander on YouTube. Someone called a wambulance for Tim. You can do it, mate. Just turn that glass upside down and
Look, I'll tell you what, I've worked out what sort of football player I am as a super coach. Like if I was to say, had to compare myself, I'm the Corey Horsburgh of super coach. Like I'm very emotional. Like I'll cry a lot because of my super coach results or how things are going, or maybe a little bit like Jake Javojevic too. You know, I'm kind of a nice guy, but I'm also very stressed out all the time. So
that's a better comparison. I feel like I'm more of a Tom Trbojevic, all or nothing.
Actually, probably Tom Trbojevic, man.
Probably more of a Luke Kelly or like a Luke Brooks or something. Caleb Holmes, Dearden or Schneider. Dearden, he's a very good Supercoach player, surprisingly this year, but Schneider looks the good. 188K. Can confidently play him most weeks, and I played him last week, and I made a late bold prediction for him to score 76 at the end of the game. He was on 76, updated to 79, but I'll take that as a win. And in my bold predictions today, I'll do something similar and try and if I get it 2 weeks in a row, then that's amazing.
Then you should start captaining those guys.
Yeah. Michael Zengeni. So Firma is a Queenslander as well. So your point with Nanai might jag a bench spot for Queensland. Firma is as well. So I reckon he's probably more of a chance.
Which is probably not good for owners, you forget about that.
Great point. So we've got Ben White. Getting Grant is more or less set and forget for the season. Get him early and cheap. I agree.
Yeah, just quickly, Sabs, I'm going to have to duck off. I don't have long. I've got to get ready for work. You want me to quickly jag a bold prediction?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we'll go Sloan to bounce back. I'm just clutching on straws here. This is probably my last week of owning him. Even if he turns out an 80, he's going. So I'm going to back him to get 75 plus. I'm going to pair that with what we were talking about earlier about Cobbo. He'll bounce back with an 80 plus, and then Sam Walker to ton up. So all very unlikely options, but we're going to try and manifest some good energy. And if that happens, you'll see me back here next week. Very happy because I'll have a good score. And captain options, I'm not sure if you've been talking about them, but it's not a tough week, but I feel like there's so many options. Each week now I'm having a battle in my head. Pappenhausen or Munster? Pappenhausen or Munster. Last week I did it, and it was only a 13-point difference. The same thing's going to happen. It's going to be one of them two. I keep always leaning towards Paps with the goal kicking, but then we go back to when Grant was taking a lot of runs and stuff like that. Both their scores were a touchdown. We're only getting a second game sample size. So do I rather Munster who will touch the ball more, or do I go, if they're going to put points on the Dogs, do I take the goal kicking? Very hard to choose between those two, but you could also go Tedesco. But I think I'm a bit worried about that matchup this week. I think I'm going to take on Melbourne. They'll pull the Dogs apart finally. Dogs defense, awesome. It's coming down this week.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks, I'm off. See you later, guys. Best of luck.
All right, so we'll answer a couple more and then we'll move on. So,
Sloan to sell.
Sloan to sell. Mikey's not selling him. Who are they playing this week? They're playing Parramatta. So St. George.
Games still.
Yeah, they do. St. George is a bit of a bogey side for Parramatta. So I would wait this week. But actually, nah. The Cashy's going to lose. I'd sell him. Just because we know he's not going to score good with this good run. He's scoring tries and still scoring 25s.
I kind of think you need to bite the bullet on it. Like, at least when Dane Laurie were playing him, he was a lot cheaper last year at the start of the year.
Yeah.
He was also putting out like at least 40s. It's a bad score. So, yeah, those 20s are painful. He's going to have games where he puts some attacking stats on, but you kind of need that base to bring up those attacking stats and make them good scores. So I'd just let him go, hey, and maybe pick him up later in the year when the draw's super juicy and it's a better option then.
Actually, we got one more before this. So Daniel Crawford, I can only go either Marnie to Grant or Moses to Hines. Hines is essential, but Grant will also be essential later. Could go Starling instead. I think I'd 100% go the Moses to Hines because Marnie, I mean, he hasn't showed a lot in the first 3 weeks, but we know he has that potential, whereas Moses, he's kind of capped a lot less than what Hines can do, whereas Marnie and Grant can be a lot similar as Supercoach options, but we're obviously not seeing it right now.
I'm on the flip side. I'm going to disagree. We've enjoyed a bit of a debate today. Yeah, look, I think as much as Hines is a mad priority and I'd love to have Hines, I think that Moses can almost, make up a bit of that gap to where Hines is, whereas Marnie to Grant, I think is a big difference. Marnie's struggling to put out, 40. He scored 57 with a try the other week.
And his break-even is like 80 this week. So if he tunes out another score like that, he's going to go back down to 500K, which, I mean, that's
I'm keen to get rid of Red Marnie. He could probably punch out an 80 or something, and then we'll be like, oh, it wasn't that important to sell. But the fact that he's got these low scores in him, whereas Grant doesn't. So I'd be thinking that's more important. I think that Moses to Hines, I think he can make up that gap in the meantime.
Port Kembla Warrior got Moses. Do I go Hines or Cleary and when? So obviously you're waiting on Cleary, but then you went early on Hines last week. If you're in this guy's position.
If I was in this guy's position, I'd be going where Mikey's at and going, go the Cleary pod route because he's he's way better. Nico's great and he's amazing, but Cleary I still believe will hit the ground running and be able to score the points just as easy as Nico and in a better attacking side. So, I like Cleary. Get him in.
Very good. And we've got last one, Christopher Abood, Angus Staggs, Bullymore to IPAP Murray, May Nanai. I love them trades. I think they're great trades.
I can't break down what he's got there. Angus and Staggs and Bullymore to IPAP Murray. How's he getting? Oh, IPAP or Murray plus May and then okay. How's he getting 4? Yeah, okay.
Murray. But IPAP is very appealing in the front row.
Yeah, I'd go the Murray, May, Nanai.
Yep.
I like that.
Cool. And bold predictions. Let's go.
What do you got?
I'll start off. I'll go Stags to bounce back and get 80 plus. Montoya to bounce back and get 70 plus. And I also think that that'll do. And I've also got Firma. No, I've got actually Montoya will score 73. That's my like rogue one. Munster will score 100 plus again as well.
So I'm going to go the Roosters to beat the Cowboys by 30, which I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
I'm going to have Pappenhausen, Turbo, and there's one more. Where is it? Can't find the matchup. Okay, let's just go Pappenhausen and Turbo for 120 plus.
Very good. All right.
That's all I've got.
Cheers for tuning in, guys. And we will see you next week. Cheers for tuning in.
Hello.
And we've got Addison.
Addison's joined.
Who do you think is a good buy this week, Addison?
Does she have any bold predictions?
Do you have any bold predictions?
I agree. No, look, you do make a good argument, Addison. That is a fair point. Latrell could. She's saying Latrell for a ton against the Panthers. That's bold.
Latrell for a ton against the Panthers. Wow.
That's what I got from her. Yeah, I think that's pretty bold.
That is pretty bold. Latrell for a ton against the Panthers. What do you think Dylan Edwards is going to score? Mummy's favorite player. Cleary is back this week. What do you think Cleary's going to get? She's not giving us much. She's a bit of a closed.
I do like a shout on Latrell though. Okay, let's see how that goes.
All right. We will see you next week. And cheers, Mr. Lachlan. Cute. We'll see you later, guys.